Hey everyone, Margarita here again. I want to talk in this video today about how this organized group of officials all thought it was funny to destroy my life or participate in destroying my life, all on lies and delusions without consequence. So it became known to me several years ago that basically once I started digging into getting the different documents and videos of everything that's gone on and FOIA requesting everything, along with what was actually going on in my waking life at the same time. It then occurred to me that this entire group of people who've been harassing me for decades, or some of them that have just participated in this event or that, or maybe not as long term, they all think that it's funny to destroy my life on all these lies and delusions they were told about me, continuing to operate as if what they've been told about me is real, and then continue on thinking what I've said about reality is funny. And then their actions causing damage in my waking life, further damage on top of all of the catastrophic events I've already been forced to deal with, and a catastrophic injury with long-term permanent results, having to accommodate that for the rest of my life and pulling my own way out of that without help from anyone, also seeming to think that that's funny also. So, I did spend about 200 grand, close to 200 grand out of pocket on treatment to save my own life, to get myself and my son where we are today. And everyone seemed to think that that was a joke. Numerous organizations, agencies, and individuals all thought that that was a joke or that was a lie, and then thought it was funny to continue on harassing me, causing problems in my life as if none of that was real, as if none of that had happened. And then everything that I've said has happened is a joke. And then they let it be known that they thought all of this was a joke, and that all of this was funny in numerous different ways, depending on who I was talking to regarding this matter or any of these matters. They all thought it was funny because what they didn't want to believe is my reality. Nobody wanted to believe that I was self-made, self-built, that I've been building success from the ground up from the time I was a teenager, that I've been 100% self-employed for a long time, where my next steps were going. Once that time period ended, where I was forced away from my home and I couldn't make any further moves regarding my real estate investments because of the ongoing crimes and destruction that was already caused, I couldn't make things move any faster. The only thing I could do was wait out that time period to begin moving forward again, which at the max would have been a 2-year period where that was all paused, ended up being about 18 months. So people all went on believing that none of that was real. My real life isn't real. What I'm carrying out in my actual life isn't real. It's all just a joke. I'm just making up all these stories, or whatever I'm saying just has no merit, and whatever I'm saying is like some pipe dream or something, when this is actually my reality. This is what I've been doing. These are facts. This is all in motion, been in motion for years. All of these people kept telling on themselves with their reactions to things that I've said along the way, acting as if my son and I were never injured. It's all just some mental disorder. Even though I had sent medical documentation and receipts to certain agencies and people, still acting like that's all a joke. That's also part of the reason I released the medical documents on my YouTube channel. But all of these people and agencies have just continued on like none of that's real. Everything I'm talking about is a joke. My actual real life is a joke, because they've been told so many lies and delusions that nobody wants to live in reality. And then at the root, they all believe they have something to gain, because they all believe they're going to get access to my assets and some bonus chunks of money once the job is complete. Once they finish wiping me out and taking me out, or getting me arrested or deceased, then they're all going to gain a little bit more. Once the job is complete, they have something to gain. So because they're all told all these delusions, and because the initial crimes went on for so long, they believe the lies and delusions to be real. So when I'm saying certain things to people, they operate as if my real life is not my real life, as if what we went through did not actually happen, as if I haven't been the one paying all my bills all these decades, as if I was not the one doing all this building and providing every step of the way. All of these people took it all as a joke because of the lies and delusions they were all told behind the scenes prior to whatever incident or whatever was going on where I had to say these things. Prior to that happening, they were told the lies and delusions. So once something like that happens where I'm forced to explain this or that, or I'm in a situation dealing with this individual or that agency, they all already believe the delusions because they were told the delusions in advance and don't want to believe that my real life is my real life. And part of that is because of these crimes and harassment and what's all gone on along the way was gotten away with initially. The initial crime of stealing, getting access to the missing trust fund, because that was allowed to be gotten away with initially, they believe these lies and delusions to be real. So they don't believe it's lies and delusions, even though I'm standing there physically explaining all of this and this is what's going on. They all seem to think it's a joke. The injury is a joke. Nobody, some other people have been paying my bills or something, or it doesn't add up. I don't know who would be um, paying that much money for me to live in the house that I live in, paying all my bills. That doesn't make any sense. For what? Like that doesn't even add up. So I'm not sure of the exact lies and delusions, but I'm sure it's been told to numerous people that multiple people have been paying my bills. Still doesn't add up. Who would pay somebody's bills for that long? My bills are pretty high. Who would be paying somebody's bills for that long of a period of time? Makes no sense. So whatever these people were believing, they wholeheartedly believed it, ran with it, operated on it, laughed. Several of them laughed as if I was a joke, as if my life was a joke, as if mine and my son's injuries were a joke, as if we're not living with a life threatening condition, walking a fine line between life and death, as if we don't require treatment to stay alive, as if what happened to us to the extreme degree that it did not happen. All of these people and agencies laughed about all of this stuff, laughed about me spending all that money on treatment, laughing because they really believed I'm just mentally disordered, and I would never be spending that kind of money since I'm so mentally disordered, believing that none of that's real when I actually have the receipts and the medical documents and the proof, and no one ever asking to see any of that, just believing the delusions, still thinking this is funny and laughing in my face. So the amount of people who have laughed in my face over all of this information and me explaining my reality and them not living in reality, I promise you they're all going to be experiencing quite a bit of karma if they're not already. They will be very soon. And the end result is going to be long-term prison time is going to be the end result. They all thought that they were going to get away with this and causing all these problems for me without consequences to any of them. Or it could be because of their level of power or their position in the community, believing that they just don't have to pay any consequences, and whatever they say is correct because they're just higher up or they have some type of official badge that gives them that power. Just believing that they don't have to pay the consequences for the crimes they've committed or the problems they've created or the ongoing harassment, and participating in the financial wipeouts and physically re-injuring me numerous times. All of these people thought it was funny. There's been at least 10 people who have physically laughed in my face and thought all of this was funny at one time or another or numerous times. So I can say along the way, this will all come out eventually. These people will be known publicly. And there's many of these people I haven't even talked about yet. So I will get to them as well. And the other thing is, I have been living my life long term as a low key celebrity because of me working in the entertainment industry for 17 years and having a deranged mother who's been in the background creating all these problems and causing all this chaos, me keeping my personal life off of the internet and never having social media all of these years. That changed the way I was forced to live my life. And then once I became uh, once I had my business working in the entertainment industry, that industry alone creates a big following, and people tend to get a lot of followers or fans, whether that be in person or online or very publicly, depending on the level of entertainment. People all thought this was a joke in my waking life. And because I was in that industry for so long in numerous states, there's a lot of people who know me all over the place. And especially with that being so long term, these people all know me in person, not online because I never had any accounts online. These people all physically met me in person, knew me long term in person. And it also attracted a lot of jealousy and envy and stalking situations along the way. So I've always had to live my life as a low key celebrity. And there's always a lot of eyes on me. There was always so many sets of eyes on me due to the nature of the industry. And what I would do is during those time periods that I would be doing that, because it's done in very short time periods, kind of spaced apart. What I would do is I would go off, do my thing, hurry up, run back, and keep myself out of the public and off of line altogether, and just go back into hermit mode and be back in my home, away from everybody's eyes, away from everybody's sight, because of the manner in which I had so many sets of eyes on me all along the way, just due to one of my streams of income and how that industry is ran. That's its own separate thing. And then at the same time, here's my mother with all these people harassing me and causing problems, which is why I did not incorporate the online side of that into my business. I just kept it all 100% in person. And it caused it caused me to live my life as a low-key celebrity for both of those reasons, separately and together, because of the criminal harassment, all orchestrated by my mother, and due to the nature of the industry itself. And then when you mix them together, it made for a very strategic, fragile situation, especially once I became injured, because people aren't aware of how physically fragile my brain and my human body is. That I really had to just be very careful about who I was talking to, where I was going, and then come back to being homebound after I went out and about, for this incident or this event or this happened over here or that, and then have to like kind of pull away and go back home and stay there. I had to do a lot of that along the way, to maintain privacy, to maintain what little quality of life I have now, in order to keep things running, in order to keep things private. That's how I've had to run my life due to both of those situations. And what's funny is these people who think this is all a joke, or think my different streams of income or businesses or lines of work that I've been in all these years, think it's all a joke. It's not a joke. None of it's a joke. Um, I'm legit a low key celebrity. So there's many people on the street who know who I am in many different places. And once word spreads and once everything finally blows and this is all made public, there's going to be a lot of people coming out of the woodwork talking about how they've met me before, how they know me, or where they met me. And it's going to become widely known. It's not going to be some secret that's going to be able to be kept. And we'll come back and do another episode more in depth on all of that, because this isn't something that's going to be able to be kept private because of what's all gone on. I don't really care. I'm not hiding anything. But I did have to keep all of that private, and then keep my private life out of the spotlight and out of the public, and had to keep it all separate and compartmentalized in order to live my life, in order to be able to carry out that stream of income, in order to be able to accommodate all the chaos and the harassment. And then in order to have some type of privacy, I had to live my life that way in order to make it all work. So that is all going to be coming out. And there is going to be, I'm just saying, there's probably going to be thousands of people coming forward talking about how they've known me. Many of them know me for years, or many of them met me numerous times, or know me for a long time. And none of those people know anything about my private life, because I've had to keep everything compartmentalized. But I do know once everything blows and is made public, there's gonna be a lot of people talking about how they've met me before, how they've known me, or they've heard a part of the story that I'm telling in this video or that. And they're going to know those to be facts because they met the real me. People who meet the real me, who've never been told any delusions or anything about these crazy situations, they believe the real me, they know the real me, and that's it. There's no problem. So when all that comes out, there's going to be quite a few people talking about, oh yeah, I remember that. Like I remember when she was going through that, or yeah, I remember her during that time period, or this or that. That's all going to be coming out. So these people who were all involved in all this criminal harassment, thinking all this is funny, it's not funny. It's all gonna come out. So what's funny is how all of these people tanked their entire lives, and they're all going to be losing their position in the community. They're going to be losing their badge. They're going to be spending time in prison, and it's going to be what's going to be funny is them going to prison for the crimes they've committed against me, thinking my entire life is a joke when I'm actually above these people in life because I got to where I am on my own. Nobody helped me. I didn't work for somebody else to get to where I am. I got completely wiped out 3 solid times, rebuilt from nothing each time, and then maintained everything by myself. So when you generate 100% of your own income, and then you're also dealing with criminal harassment repeatedly, and a chronic injury, and a child who's chronically sick and injured too, it makes for a bunch of huge life changes that people who work for somebody else and then went to college for 10, 20 years and then work for somebody else, people like that don't experience um, having to generate 100% of their own income. They don't know what it's like to be a self-starter and have to carry out all these tasks and manage all these tasks to keep everything running overall, because they're never dealing with anything like that. And then there's the injury that has to be accommodated into all that. So people like that have never had life experience like that. Whereas with me, I've built everything on my own, and I've managed everything on my own. I'm managing everything as a whole in life and in business as a whole by myself, without the backing of a large company who signs my paychecks, or an agency who signs my paychecks. So these people are ridiculously retarded with their thought process on whatever they thought was going on in my life or the information they were told about me. But it's all going to become public. It's all going to become known. And really, it's funny because I've done further work in my life. I've worked harder, I've worked longer, and I've rebuilt and rebuilt and did it 100% by myself without the backing of a large company or an agency to sign my paychecks. I did it all 100% by myself. So, all of those people who thought all of that shit was funny, it's not funny. And you're going to be the one being laughed at in the long run when all of this blows. Once arrests are made, it's going to make national news because there's so many individuals and agencies involved. And the storyline of what has gone on is so absurd that it is going to make national news. So it's going to be real funny when these people are all exposed for what they've done and how they thought somebody's life who's self-made, self-built is a joke, or just because you're ignorant to other forms of employment, or somebody running their own business, or um, just another way of life in general, thinking it has to go one way on paper because you went to college and that college told you that's how the world works. That's not how the world works. That's why you were told that. There's a mass brainwashing in effect for the entire population. So these people were so ignorant. They're going to see, once arrests are made, how ignorant they all looked all along the way, every step of the way, all the jokes they cracked, all the problems they created, all the times I got laughed in my face. And then once my real fan club, from all the people I've met along the way in person, my fan club is going to eventually step forward once everything's known. There's going to be a lot of people talking about me. So like, I just find it very funny that they were all laughing about all of this. None of it's funny. These were all facts. I've 100% built everything on my own, been running everything by myself all this time. It's a lot harder to do something like that versus going to college for 4 or 6 years and then going to work for somebody else where they give you direction, tell you what to do. You work a set amount of hours, you get a set amount of money per week, and that's it. You don't have to put any effort or time or energy into running everything as a whole, keeping it all going, planning going forward, and carrying out other life problems. And man, especially with me, I have 3 kids, so you manage your children along the way. People aren't thinking about any of that, all thinking all this is a joke. So yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video on that, and I will come back and do another video and talk about my life as a low key celebrity and a little more in depth with all that, because it is going to eventually come out. So I'll come back and talk more in depth on it. Thanks. Bye.